Today's New York City Council hearing for the Committee on Public Housing. At this time, please silence all electronic devices. Please silence all this hearing. Thank you. Chair, we are ready to begin.
I'm calling this meeting to order. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this hearing of the Committee of Public Housing for the New York City Council. I am Councilmember Chris Banks, chair of the committee, and I'm glad to be joined by my colleagues, Councilman Osei. Today, we will hold an oversight hearing on the administration of Section 8 and the Emergency Housing Voucher Program. It is no secret that New Yorkers face an affordable housing crisis, and far too many people are facing down the prospects of having to live without a stable roof over their and improved economic standing. Public housing and publicly subsidized housing in New York City has historically been one of the primary means to help secure residence for those in need, giving them some valuable stability, which allows them to improve their lives. Some of the ways this has manifested are the Section 8 program and emergency housing vouchers, which provide rental assistance so that people can afford to stay housed. However, public housing assistance is under an increasing threat. This is not to imply that public housing was safe before. I'm sure most of us here are well acquainted with the funding issues NYCHA has faced and continues to face. But recent federal budget proposals and conversations are signaling a unprecedented level of desire to cut public housing funding over the coming years. And this is particularly worrisome for our city, which has over 100,000 households relying on federally funded housing vouchers. We must be prepared for circumstances in which we are forced to reckon with a drastically reduced and even completely eliminated federal funding environment for public housing assistance. To this point, we must also acknowledge the present circumstances wherein a worrying number of folks with vouchers are unsuccessful in finding a home. As I am sure my colleagues can attest, a constant issue raised by our constituents is navigating the housing voucher programs and finding a place that accepts their voucher. In fact, it was found just 53% of NYCHA voucher recipients were able to use their voucher to lease a home in 2022. 13% decrease from 2018, while the discussion on how NYCHA is preparing for the uncertain future we currently see with Section 8, as well as what NYCHA is doing to improve its administration of the voucher program so that more New Yorkers who currently have vouchers can successfully find homes sooner rather than later. I would like to thank my staff, Michael Lambert, Kyle, all of the Public Housing Committee staff, Jose, Charles, Jack, Reese, James, Sierra, and all those who have made this hearing possible today. Now we'll go forward with swearing in the administration.
Good afternoon. If you could raise your right hand, please. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth before this committee and to respond honestly to council member questions?
Do.
And then whenever you're ready, you can begin and just state your name and title for the record, please.
I'm Lakeisha Miller, Executive Vice President for Lease Housing.
And Brian Honan, Executive Vice President for Intergovernmental Relations.
Chair Chris Banks, members of the Committee on Public Housing, other distinguished members of the City Council, NYCHA residents, community advocates, and members of the public. Good afternoon. I am Lakeisha Miller, NYCHA's Executive Vice President of Lease Housing. Oh, okay. I am pleased to be joined by Brian Honan, Executive Vice President of Intergovernmental Affairs, and other members of the NYCHA team. Thank you for this opportunity to discuss the Authority's Section 8 program, including our administration of emergency housing vouchers. For half a century, NYCHA has helped low-income New Yorkers rent housing in the private market thanks to the Federal Housing Choice Voucher Program, also known as Section 8.
Stop 1 minute. We just want to make sure the mic is on.
Yes, I have it right.
Maybe try the.
Did you press the button? It's
Hello?
Maybe it's not Should we try the mic on to the right of Brian
switch mics.
Okay.
or share?
Works. You could pull the cord a little. Yeah, it's not gonna. There we go. Okay.
Okay.
You may
That's
begin.
better?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, now I can hear myself. All right.
If you want to start from the beginning,
Okay.
appreciate
I'll
that.
start
Thank you.
over. Okay. Chair Chris Banks, members of the Committee on Public Housing, other distinguished members of the City Council, NYCHA residents, community advocates, and members of the public. Good afternoon. I am Lakeisha Miller, NYCHA's Executive Vice President of Lease Housing. I am pleased to be joined today by Brian Honan, Executive Vice President of Intergovernmental Affairs, and other members of the NYCHA team. Thank you for this opportunity to discuss the Authority's Section 8 program, including our administration of emergency housing vouchers. For half a century, NYCHA has helped low-income New Yorkers rent housing in the private market thanks to the Federal Housing Choice Voucher Program, also known as Section 8. The Section 8 rental subsidy allows families to typically pay no more than 30% of their adjusted monthly income towards rent. NYCHA pays the remaining amount to the owner of the home on the family's behalf. NYCHA administers the largest Section 8 program in the country. We currently serve about 110,000 households, over 223,000 residents, who rent homes from approximately 27,000 participating landlords. More than half of our participants are children and seniors. The average household income is about $23,000, and families pay an average of $472 in monthly rent. Program eligibility is based on a family's gross annual income and the size of their household. The Emergency Housing Voucher Program, EHV, is also administered by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD. It was established 4 years ago to help our most vulnerable families and individuals gain stable and affordable housing, including people who are experiencing homelessness or are victims of domestic violence. NYCHA currently serves more than 5,400 EHV participants. This past March, HUD announced that it is ending the EHV program. However, HUD is allowing public housing authorities across the nation to transition current EHV households to the traditional HCV or Section 8 program. NYCHA will begin transferring all of our EHV participants to the HCV program because we want to support at-risk families and keep them stably housed. EHV participants will continue to receive the same benefits. Their rental subsidy will not be impacted, and the program rules and requirements will remain the same. They will benefit, however, by moving from a time-limited program to one that is not time-limited. To accommodate this, NYCHA must temporarily pause voucher issuance and outreach to applicants on the general HCV waitlist. Applicants who have not yet reached a voucher, or excuse me, applicants who have not yet received a voucher will be returned to their original position on the waitlist. They will not be removed from the waitlist. Once outreach and voucher issuance restarts, NYCHA will contact households according to their spot on the waitlist. There is no impact to current voucher holders. My colleagues and I have been working hard to prepare administratively for this transition and ensure there is no interruption to the vital assistance that every EHV participant receives. Our team also provides invaluable support to Section 8 voucher holders beyond the powerful foundation of a monthly rental subsidy. For instance, our housing navigation unit helps voucher holders find housing in the private market. Our inspections team makes sure that voucher holders are living in safe, decent housing. And we arrange for any valid, reasonable accommodations as well as transfers to other housing authorities. The Family Self-Sufficiency Program helps Section 8 residents build their assets while they pursue financial independence through education, job training, and money management. And many of the other valuable academic advancement and workforce development programs offered by NYCHA's Office of Resident Economic Empowerment and Sustainability are available to Section 8 voucher holders, in addition to public housing residents. We also support the landlords who participate in the program, who likewise benefit from the guaranteed monthly rental subsidy payments. For example, our free online property management tools help landlords manage their Section 8 portfolio. As we have reported in previous council hearings, we continue to monitor the news coming out of Washington and will continue to adapt to the fiscal realities. No matter what happens, our top priority is providing decent, affordable housing to the families we serve, and we remain steadfast in pursuit of our mission. NYCHA's work, including this administration of Section 8 vouchers, is a critical lifeline for so many New Yorkers. We appreciate the council's support as we continue to navigate the challenges and the changes, and we look forward to continuing our vital work together. Thank you. We are happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you for your opening statement. We've also been joined by another colleague of mine, Councilmember Sanchez. All right, we will begin, and we'll go, I guess, straight into our line of questions. I think you've actually answered this particular question, but I'll just ask it again. How many residents are currently served by NYCHA's Section 8 program, and what is the breakdown between tenant-based vouchers and the project-based vouchers?
Yes, thank you for that question, Council Member. So NYCHA's program currently provides rental assistance to 110,000 families. There are 80,595 tenant-based vouchers in use and 29,875 project-based vouchers in use.
Okay. And are the emergency housing voucher holders included in those numbers?
Yes.
Okay. And are PAC developments included in these numbers as well?
Yes.
Okay. Does NYCHA project that its Section 8 population will grow in the coming years? And how many Section 8 residents do NYCHA expect to serve in the 2023, for example?
So we do expect for the program to grow. The PACT program has a pipeline of 62,000 units that it will be converting from Section 9 to Section 8 under the project-based program. We also have the Preservation Trust, which will have a separate pipeline of 25,000 units.
The 62,000 is projected?
That's correct.
And what's the current amount of units that have been converted?
So we're about 27,000 right now.
Okay.
And we have close to 40,000, including that 27,000, close to 40,000 that were in engagement with residents. So the residents already know that they're candidates for the program and moving towards conversion.
Okay. And when it comes to staffing, how many staff work on NYCHA's the leased housing team?
Our lease housing team has a head count of 520 personnel. We
Can you
have
repeat that number again?
520 personnel is our authorized head count. We have 476 active personnel. So
Okay.
there are 44 vacancies that we are actively working to fill.
Does NYCHA have plans to expand its lease housing team to meet the needs of the growing Section 8?
Yes, as the program grows,
Even with the
annually
vacancies?
we look at the staffing to make sure it's sufficient.
NYCHA's fiscal year 26 draft annual plan requested that HUD approval to convert a subset of FHA homes to project-based Section 8 through PAC. How does that plan impact NYCHA's projection about the Section 8 population and the demand for the staffing needs?
Sure. So the FHA homes, these are homes that are individual homes that nature inherited mostly in the 1970s. They are largely in Southeast Queens, Rockaway area, and we even have a few in Brooklyn. We have been, well, most of these homes already have been converted, not necessarily to Section 8, with their home ownership opportunities. So we partner with groups like Habitat for Humanities to renovate these homes, and then our first preference is to sell it to the occupied family who's
Right.
there. But if that can't work, we look to sell it to for below market rent to people who are income qualified.
Other NYCHA residents
Nature
given the
residents also get
opportunity?
preference. Yes,
Okay.
exactly. So, and we have about 100 more of these homes left, and our hope is to eventually, and very soon, announce a plan to make all of these homes available.
Okay.
So.
Does NYCHA coordinate with HPD or other agencies and administering the Section 8 program?
Now, Section 8, HPD has their own program.
Right.
It's, so we have 3 programs here in New York State. We have, in New York City, excuse me. We have NYCHA's program, we have HPD's program, and we have HCR's program as well. We speak to them regularly. Lakeisha speaks to the head of their programs very frequently, but they are separate programs, and they're used differently, too.
Okay. Yeah. First of all, let me recognize Councilmember Sanchez again, and I will allow her to give her questions. Councilmember Sanchez.
Thank you
And
so
hold
much.
on, Councilmember Sanchez. Also, too, we've been recognized by Councilmember Aviles and Councilmember Joseph.
Thank you so much, Chair, and good afternoon. Thank you for speaking before us today. I have 2 sets of questions. I'll quickly run through all of them and would love to hear the responses. So first, with respect to federal threats, can you first, would you be able to provide us a unique number of landlords that participate in NYCHA's Section 8 program? Understanding that some buildings have multiple units that have Section 8 vouchers assigned to them. And second, what would be the impact on NYCHA's Section 8 program if the changes that we're seeing being proposed in Washington were to pass? What preparation, if any, is NYCHA doing, for the impact, to brace for impact? And then secondly, and on a different note, with respect to source of income discrimination, can you walk us through what NYCHA's role is with respect to dealing with source of income discrimination complaints? Are those routed to you? Do you work with CCHR? Anything you can share with us. And if they are routed to you, can you share with us what the numbers are?
So thank you for your questions, Council Member. Currently, we have 27,000 participating landlords with Section 8. And before we jump into the impact of the changes, I would like to address the question on the source of income discrimination. Um, NYCHA's role in this is minimal. We advise voucher holders of the resource with CCHR if they encounter source of, oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's just
Okay.
moving a little closer. Yeah. Oh no, you just. It's still not.
It's still not on. I don't know why they don't want me
Just
to talk to you guys today.
speak. Just get a little closer.
Yes.
Excuse
We
me.
can't
So-
handle the truth.
Speak up a little closer.
So as it relates
we
to the
go.
source
Thank
of
you.
income discrimination, we do advise voucher holders that CCHR is their resource. They're the entity that handles those complaints. We do partner with CCHR if there are any questions or if we need to take an action like to put a voucher on hold as they work through a complaint.
Do you- Sorry, just a quick follow-up on that. Do you log the number of complaints that come in with respect to source of income complaints?
No, because the complaints aren't made directly to NYCHA, they're made to CCHR.
Never? No voucher holders come to you and say, I was turned away?
Very rarely, like anecdotally, you'll hear those complaints, but we defer to CCHR as the entity who actually takes action on those.
Okay, so you are not recording, when that does come your way, you're not recording that information? Okay. That seems like a problem. That seems like something that you would want to know, to be able to, better direct resources and try to address the issue as an agency. Okay, can you go on to the federal threats question?
Yes.
So we have over 27,000 landlords in our program. It's the largest program in the country. On the section, there are so many threats on the federal level in terms of housing. But on the Section 8 side, if you look at the House and what the Senate is proposing, the House keeps funding flat on tenant-based vouchers, and the Senate proposes a 6% increase. On the tenant protection vouchers, and these are the vouchers that we use to convert to PACT and the trust, the House offers an 11% increase, and the Senate a 27% increase. Where we do have a big concern is on Section 8 admin fees. So this is the money used to run the program. The House offers a 29% cut. So, Lakeisha mentioned the fact that we have a little bit more than 500 staffers running an entire program, the largest program in the country. It is going to grow, but unfortunately, Congress, and this isn't just unique to this Congress, year after year sees this as an easy place to cut. But as the program gets larger, we see more cuts. So we are spending a tremendous amount of time in Washington speaking about this. But the funding on the Section 8 side is much more secure than, say, on the public housing side.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Back to the emergency housing voucher transition to Section 8. How many current EH vouchers households will lose assistance because of the federal cuts? And do you have an estimate of how many of those households will face eviction or homelessness once they lose their subsidy?
So funding for the EHV program is provided separately from Section 8, and that funding is due to last us through the end of 2026.
Okay.
So that's why we have the intention to transition them over
to
Section 8.
And has NYCHA pushed HUD or Congress to guarantee continued support for the current EHV households? And if not, why not? And if so, what has been their response?
Yes, I mean, we've raised this as an issue. The program was supposed to last into 2030. It was a $5 billion allocation. They have told us the money has run out. It's a different administration, it's a different Congress, and they have just told us flat out that they are not going to renew funding or add funding to the program. They have stated to us that they're not opposed to us or any other housing authorities continuing to provide subsidy for these families. And so we worked with HUD to figure out a way to transition these families from EHV to tenant-based vouchers.
Right.
And that required a waiver that we did receive from HUD.
Well, how many of the EH voucher households have been transitioned to Section 8 as of today?
Well, they are Section 8 currently, but they haven't been. We haven't started to transition them
Right.
to the tenant-based program yet.
Gotcha. Okay. And what is the anticipated timeline?
We anticipate that it will take about a year and a half to complete that process.
Okay. And when does NYCHA anticipate the last of its EHV federal funding will run out? And will those funds be sufficient to complete the EHV transition?
The program is funded until 2026, with the calendar year 2026. The federal calendar year starts on October 1st. So, and we're confident that they'll be okay until that time. So we're working toward, our hope is that this will be seamless, and the families will just, and in some ways it's going to work out really
Right.
good for them because they will have a permanent voucher, because right now, even if the program was fully funded, it was set to expire in 2030.
So are any EHV voucher households, are they at risk of losing assistance during the transition period?
Well, if we're able to put our program in place as proposed, which we are confident that we could do, we hope to transition them from emergency vouchers to tenant-based vouchers, and that risk will not be there.
Okay. Well, we know that a lot of the EHV serves vulnerable populations like folks who were recently homeless or who are fleeing domestic violence. So what supports will NYCHA offer to participants to ensure that they do not face eviction or homelessness during this transition?
So we have issued a letter to the households describing what this process will look like and offering them the opportunity to contact us to help work through any issues that they may have. In terms of eviction, as far as the rental assistance is concerned, there should be no rental assistance evictions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, will the transition happen automatically, or will the EH3 vouchers need to take any affirmative steps to initiate or complete the process?
So my colleagues and I have worked on the transition process to make it as seamless as possible.
Right.
So that's part of obtaining the HUD waiver, because the choice was get permission to add them all to the wait list at one time or make each individual household complete an application. We didn't want them to have to go through that process, so we pursued the HUD waiver and received approval.
And when it comes to the outreach or guidance, has NYCHA provided to inform the EHV participants about the federal cuts? What has been the outreach to inform them of these cuts and the transition process?
Sure. Our CEO has sent out multiple emails to residents informing them of proposals from the federal government. In the spring, the president released his what they called skinny budget. She did a communication to residents. And then later on, when both houses released their budgets, she did an updated version of that. We also held meetings with advocates to let them know what's going on. And we also did two open, Zoom calls for elected officials and staff already. So we're trying to be a leader here and in real time, let people know what's going on and the threats from Washington.
And you have dedicated staff members handling the transition.
transition. Yes.
Yes.
To the okay. Does NYCHA anticipate needing to hire additional staff to handle the transition, and if so, how many?
No, we since we suspended the issuance of vouchers from the Section 8 wait list, we will utilize that same staff to assist in the transition.
So it's enough staff.
Yes. I mean, we would always welcome more, but
Well, of
it's
course.
suitable for
This-
now, yes.
Why did NYCHA pause in the issuance of the 200,000 households on the Section 8 wait list? And when does NYCHA expect to resume issuing vouchers to applicants on the wait list?
So it's purely a funding decision. You have to be able to support vouchers on the street as well as transitioning the EHV households. At this time, we cannot do both. So we needed to pause issuing the vouchers to the wait list. We anticipate that it will take about 1.5 years to complete that transition because it is our goal to continue to serve the needy people of New York. So we're looking forward to getting back to issuing vouchers.
And what is the outreach going to look like to those folks who are now being pushed back?
We will issue written notification and make phone calls to get them when we're ready to go back to issuing vouchers. We will reach out to them.
How will the transition impact funding for existing Section 8 voucher holders and applicants on the wait list?
There's no impact to current voucher holders.
So they'll remain on the wait list?
Well, current voucher holders, we are currently paying for their assistance.
Okay.
For the people on the wait list, that's why we had to put them back on the wait list.
And HPD also administers some of the Section 8 vouchers and the EHV vouchers. Has NYCHA coordinated with HPD in regard to this transition?
So, like Ryan said earlier, EHV or HPD has their own program. So we do
there's no
talk with
coordination.
them, but we can't speak for what, represent what their action plan is.
I'm going to ask.
I'm sorry, Catherine. We do speak to them regularly.
Right.
We spoke to them about this. We do run different programs, though, and we have different budgetary issues. So while we discussed our ideas on how to handle this, I can't speak to where they landed, but we have done a lot of coordination.
But it was coordination. Okay.
Yes.
Before I go on to my next round of questions, I want to recognize Councilmember Boucher, and then I'm going to obviously start my round of questions, and then I'll allow my colleagues to weigh in. When it comes to Section 8 voucher utilization and the success rates, what is the current voucher success rate for new Section 8 participants in 2025, and how many vouchers expire unused each year?
So for 2025, the success rate is 54%.
54%.
Yes. So the remaining 46% are expiring without rental.
And how many of those vouchers from August of 2024 waitlist lottery have been issued as of today?
As of today, we've issued a little over 2,800 vouchers.
Okay. And what is the average search time for the voucher holders?
The average
Only
search
for
time is
search for housing.
134 days.
Okay. And what assistance does NYCHA provide to voucher holders struggling to find housing?
We formed a housing navigation unit in August of 2023, and that unit's purpose is to work with voucher holders who have 60 days remaining on their voucher. We provide them with a list of brokers. We also make them aware of other city resources with HRA, Housing Connect, and
What's your success
affordablehousing.com.
rate?
The success rate with the housing navigation
those
unit,
struggling to find, how are you effective in getting those folks assisting them?
73% of the households assisted through the housing navigation unit were able to locate units.
Okay, and does the source of income discrimination directed back to NYCHA?
No. Even though we are in contact with them, ultimately we don't know how many come in a year.
So you're not getting any complaints or
We
reports?
do, sometimes we do, and we direct them to the the city's Office of Civil Rights. But ultimately, we don't know how many, come in every year.
But so they're not. You don't document how many complaints come in. Okay.
We don't.
Well, what is NYCHA's involvement in the source of income discrimination complaint resolution, and what supports does NYCHA offer during that process? If somebody brings that to your attention.
We direct them to CCHR, and if CCHR has any questions for us, we make ourselves available to answer questions.
Well,
But
do you?
ultimately,
Mhm.
CCHR is the agency that handles those discrimination complaints.
And do you know how many source of income discrimination complaints NYCHA Section 8 residents submitted in 2024? Is that number is not? And how much funding does NYCHA receive for Section 8 for the housing assistance payments?
The funding for housing assistance payments is based on your active participants. So right now, we are administering a $2 billion program.
Okay. I'm now going to move to Councilmember Chiosei, who has some questions.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chair. Good afternoon to both of you. I think we're all well aware of how essential this program is to the people of New York, especially when it comes to the issue of houselessness, homelessness. This is a program that keeps people in their homes. And as I've heard from both of you, there is a budget deficit right now from the federal government. Is that correct?
No, so there is a certain program, emergency housing voucher program, that was created during COVID.
Sure.
That was aimed at families who are homeless, individuals who are homeless, domestic violence victims, people who are human trafficked. Really the most vulnerable folks. And we were able to lease up to 5,500 of these individuals and families. It was tremendously successful. But the program was supposed to last into 2030. It is now going to be cut off next year. So what we're going to do.
And that's because of the current federal government, correct?
That's correct. That's
and
good.
Brian, I think you said in a previous answer that NYCHA has been lobbying or speaking to Congress about making sure that this program will continue to be funded, right?
That's right.
I guess where my concern lies in terms of us using the tools in our toolbox to make sure that we secure this much needed funding is that there is an advocate, within the city who, is the mayor of New York.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's widely well aware that this mayor has a warm relationship with our president, right? Have you been aware of any conversation or advocacy that has stemmed from, the principal of City Hall and advocating for this much needed funding that will house New Yorkers in need?
So when we are in Washington, we are often joined by the mayor's staff in Washington, and they advocate with us as well. But conversations higher than that level, I am not aware of.
Sure, I think and I appreciate the work that both of you do, right? And sometimes it feels, and especially during this current political climate, dealing with this federal government that at times can be very hostile, that we could go back and forth, right, about the funding that is needed and what you're not doing because of the funding that is lacking. But it's really difficult when we have an individual who's in power that can leverage that power to secure this much needed funding. So I know that there's a lot that you cannot do within your current roles. But if there's ever a moment that you can leverage your voice and letting this mayor know how essential this program is needed and how speaking to this current president that he's apparently close with, if he can understand the importance of this program through you two who are essential and making sure that families within New York City are housed, we would all benefit greatly from your advice and consent and pushing for that to become a reality. So that's all I wanted to say today. I do have a bunch of questions in terms of, maybe we can turn phones off, in terms of vacancies and things of that nature. But I really want to make sure that we are using the tools to secure that funding, for this program.
No, I appreciate that, council member, and believe me, Lakeisha and I are never shy about advocating for families to live in both Section 8 and Section 9, so we appreciate that.
All right. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. We've been joined by Councilmember Mealy, and we'll allow Councilmember Joseph to ask questions.
Thank you, Chair. I just had a few questions around. Do you have the current data on the demand for Section 8 and emergency housing vouchers in New York City?
Our NYCHA's program, we currently serve 5,400 households.
How many? 5,400?
Yes.
Thank you. And what is the process for identifying and correcting inefficiencies in the voucher issuance and renewal process?
I want to make sure I'm understanding your question.
Have there been problems, and how are you correcting them in issuing the vouchers and renewing them?
So if a voucher holder comes to us with a discrepancy and the voucher that was issued, we work through the issue and correct anything that needs to be corrected. In terms of renewing the vouchers, do you mean their annual recertification process?
Yes.
Yes. So we have an obligation to recertify all households annually. So we do an outreach process that starts 5 months ahead of the effective date, and the family has to respond. And we calculate the income based on what is reported to us and what information is available in the HUD database.
And if that person misses that window, what happens?
Oh, I'm sorry. Councilman, could I just add before?
Absolutely.
So for this particular program, it was hard to lease up. It really was.
Right.
It was a new program, and it really targeted a very specific population. As I mentioned earlier, it was like families experiencing homelessness, people with domestic violence victims, and we really put a lot of effort into making sure that people understood the program, and the housing navigation unit that we talked about was born out of this program because we knew that people needed additional help in finding apartments. So the here's a voucher, good luck, just wasn't working. So and the success rate that we're seeing with the housing navigation program, really is showing to be great. It wasn't unique to NYCHA too, though. I attend and speak to housing authorities throughout the country, and they really did have challenges. But not just like our regular Section 8 program, our emergency housing voucher program is the largest in the country as well.
Thank you, Hal. Thank you so much. What steps are being taken to improve data transparency, make key performance metrics such as voucher success rates, processing time, and landlord participation publicly available? Is that information publicly available?
There is a HUD dashboard that would the information that we report to HUD is made available to the public, and it covers everything from annual recertifications to voucher utilization, budget utilization.
Thank you for that. Voucher holders often report facing discrimination or resistance from landlords, particularly because when payments are delayed or administrative process is perceived as burdensome. What feedback have you received from landlords on this issue, and how is the agency responding?
So we hold periodic webinars where we have an engagement with the landlords where they give us feedback about our administration of the program. We have taken steps such as creating what we call the owner extranet that gives them full access 24 hours a day to be able to administer their vouchers that they have with the program. Whenever requests are made to us to add more features, we do work with our IT team to make those releases available.
Councilmember, if I could add, The reason we have so many landlords participating in a program over 27,000 is the stability and the reliability of payment, right? So landlords know that they're going to get their subsidy on the first or the second of every month. That is guaranteed. We did have a blip earlier in the year when the federal government issued a memo that they weren't going to issue payments. But that was a few days, and I think we handled that as fast as we possibly could. But that was an anomaly compared to, what is normal. It is literally money in the bank.
Thank you. Beyond delay in payments, what are some other major reasons landlords cited for refusing to participating or leaving the voucher program?
I haven't heard much about them wanting to leave because I think the biggest drawing factor that keeps them involved is the security of having a monthly payment.
A monthly payment.
Yes.
But yet we still have delays. How many delays have we had in the past 2024 year? Sorry, Chair.
Hey, you can.
So the payments are not delayed. NYCHA acts as a pass through, right? So HUD pays NYCHA on the first business day of the month, and then the NYCHA team works to issue those payments within 24 hours.
Now, some landlords may face delays, but those would cause, right? So each apartment has to go through an inspection every year, and HUD expects the apartments to be up to code, to be have issues. Landlords are given an opportunity to cure any violations that are found, but if they do not do that, then we are not allowed to issue subsidy. So in those cases, what a landlord might say, I'm not getting payment, I'm not, but in those cases they need to cure the issues in the apartment.
So what steps are there recurring delays in subsidy payments to landlord, and what concrete steps are you taking? Are you using any type of technology to help you fast track some of this work as well?
We do have a portal for landlords, that is strictly just for landlords. We also have a portal just for tenants and things if they can upload documents. So in case like I was just mentioning, landlord says I've cured all the issues in my apartments, they could upload all the receipts and all the proof that they've done it. So this way they can get that payment turned on as quick as possible. So no need to go to an office, no need to rely on the mail, no need to do anything like that. They can, upload it and it's seamless.
And you train your tenants and landlords on the process?
We have regular Zoom seminars with them, so this way they know how to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Joseph, appreciate you. We will now allow Councilmember Voucher to ask his questions.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Chair Banks, and to the committee. Earlier this month, HUD sent out a directive to public housing authorities across the country demanding personal information about all their tenants with respect to their immigration status. We reached out to you upon hearing of this, and you informed us that this wasn't a new rule, that this is something that has always been a requirement, reporting the immigration status of tenants, and that NYCHA had always done this, and it had never been an issue. Is that still accurate, and have there been any implications to this request at NYCHA?
Yeah, we didn't get a special letter as that was reported in the Washington Examiner article, and then picked up after that. So every year, both on the public housing side and on the Section 8 side, tenants have to recertify. And if you are undocumented, you can live in public housing as long as there's somebody who is a citizen, or is documented, in that apartment. You are asked if you are if you are documented, and you have to, and people come forward and they say, yes, I'm undocumented. They pay a little bit more in rent by admitting that. And we have to give HUD our recertifications every year. It's not like we're flagging for HUD or anything like that. This is just part of their recertifications. And so they do have that information. And you know what, to me, what struck me is like, these are people who are actually doing the right thing, right? So they're reporting their status. They're paying a little bit extra because they know that the federal government is not going to subsidize them. And yet, you know, somehow this is, you know, raising a red flag.
To HUD, and for how many years have you been doing that? How many years have you been required to do that?
Oh, wait, I never know it, you know, as long as I've been around, and that's quite a while.
In late August, early September, when has that information last been transmitted to HUD?
So recertifications are done quarterly, you know, for different populations, and when they're, you know, completed, we transmit them to HUD. So it's, you know, we're always going back and forth. I just want to be clear. We're not like giving them like a separate file. Here are all the folks who are undocumented. They're just getting, you know, they're getting the recertifications that include this information.
Yeah, help me understand what that data looks like. It's essentially a list of every apartment with their vacation, and within that, their immigration status is included.
It's just one of many different questions on there. I mean, if you look at your recertification, I guess it's the housing equivalent of your tax return, right? So it includes your income, it includes exemptions, it includes a number of things, including your status in the country, and it's a federal, you know, it's a federal requirement.
Yeah, I'm concerned about it. I know that it's always been a requirement, apparently, and it's something that's always been done. It's nothing new, but what we're seeing from this administration is new, and they're looking for every opportunity they can to chase people down, and I'm concerned about it. Have there been any additional conversations within the administration about the implications of this?
We have not, but I think it, you know, I think it is. I understand the concern, and I found the letter to be confusing because it was, you know, we weren't asked for anything new here. But at the same time, the federal government will not subsidize an apartment without a recertification. You know, so it's a, you know, it is a, it's really tough. We have to submit these recertifications in order to keep the subsidy going. But, you know, it also includes a lot of, you know, information about individuals that, you know, may be harmful. Who knows?
We have questions from Councilman Mealy.
I want to thank you for answering the call whenever
Oh,
you
thank
call.
you. Yes, Anita.
I just want to know, I don't know if this question was answered. What would be the impact on NYCHA's Section 8 program if the proposed budget by the president is passed?
Yeah, the proposed budget that the president called for was a 43% cut to all federally assisted programs. Thankfully, the and presidents don't pass budgets, so it's Congress who passes budget. And Section 8 does a lot better under the proposals, both in the House and the Senate, right? So in the House, we're seeing you know, maintaining the current level, and in the Senate, we're even seeing increases.
Okay.
So we're confident.
Was canceled at one point, true or not? We opened it about 5 or 6 years ago.
Well, the program has always been strong. It and
Was
No, no. So we did close the wait list, and that shows the demand, right? So the demand here in New York City is so strong that we have 3 different programs, right? And then we have our local city program, and then on top of that, the state's going to open up their own program. So we have a lot of different voucher programs, but we closed our wait list. But that doesn't mean that we stopped issuing vouchers, on turnover.
Talking about
Right,
vouchers.
but we'll continue to have a very, robust program.
So if if it's a shutdown, what impact would it have on Section 8 payments to HUD?
So we're confident that landlords will receive their October payment.
And then what happened after October?
We'll then we start getting into uncharted territory, right? So
For us to be people for the people, we're supposed to be helping the people of the city.
Right.
What plan B do we have in place? Because landlords cannot go without rent.
Yep.
So, and another thing is, who administer if a house inspection? What means do they can say that the inspection was bad? What recourse do the owners have in regards to that?
My colleague answer that.
Quickly, because I have about 2 more questions.
So if we perform an inspection and issues are cited, the landlord needs to make the repairs. If the landlord,
it's no repairs need to be done, I had someone, brand new apartment, and you said it wasn't, they didn't pass the inspection. Then they said it was the electrical, brand new electrical box. Thank God they had a certified contractor. So what recourse do they have? But in the meantime, they did not get paid for like 6 months working this out. What recourse do our landlords have in regards to fighting City Hall?
so
or
I can
fighting nature?
speak generally.
Please.
If there is a dispute about the inspection, we do have a quality control inspection where another staff member will go out and meet with the landlord and inspect the unit. But I would like to hear the particulars on the case you're talking about.
And how soon do you get the check back to the landlords?
How
If
soon
they
do we get a
find
check
everything is correct, red tape, what's the medium time?
For after an
After
inspection,
inspection, now they could get their money. Couple of months or 1 month? What's
It
the
can-
time frame?
it could take 30 to 60 days. We issue payment once a month, so it may seem like it's taking longer, but as soon as the issue is resolved within that 30 to 60 days, they will get payment in the next payment cycle.
So if they do not, what recourse? In between this time, landlords, light bill, gas bill, insurance payments still have to be done. What are we doing in regards to that? Trying to get it back to them quick as possible.
Again, we will perform a quality control inspection and try to mitigate the issue as soon as possible.
All right, back to Mr. Honan. If the shutdown happened, only 1 month's rent they can get.
Right now, that's what we've been told. HUD, you could issue guidance, as we go on, but really it is all about what the length is of the shutdown. We are dependent on the federal government for this program. We do not, this is, as Lakeisha was saying earlier, we are a pass-through. The money comes from the federal government, goes out to the landlords. We cannot subsidize this program on our own.
So do you wonder why so many landlords are opting out, getting Section 8 tenants?
I don't
Have a plan for them.
Yeah.
We have to do better. Even though maybe I should doing some have a resource money put aside or something that we can help landlords. We all have to live here. And if more landlords lose their buildings, the more tenants we're going to have to start finding where we can place them. And NYCHA is not opening up that often.
No.
Their
We-
apartments.
We do have a small amount of reserves, but HUD is also really discouraging housing authorities for keeping too much reserves. In fact, In fact, housing authorities that did have more reserves than they thought was necessary, they sweep that money up. But I would think, being like good stewards and putting money away for reserves, some housing authorities were punished for that.
What is this new program? Inspire?
Inspire.
Inspire?
Yes.
Just in.
Inspire. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Inspire. What is that program?
So, as you are familiar, for as long as I can remember, there has been a housing quality standard that landlords are expected to adhere to in order to keep their apartments, up to code and making sure that everything works. Inspire is a new system that's very similar.
Implemented yet?
It is implemented on the public housing side, not on the Section 8 side. It will be in the fall, correct?
No, HUD actually last month, HUD pushed the implementation date to February 2027.
27?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I got to ask one. Can I talk off topic?
Councilmember Mealy, you can.
Off topic.
Well,
Next we'll go around.
if you want to, yeah. All right, let's move on to technology and recertification issues. That's been a lot of complaints about that. In 2021 and 2022, at least 10,500 Section 8 voucher holders received an erroneous termination notice due to a glitch in NYCHA's paperwork processing system. What steps did NYCHA take to correct the error?
So we did work through the discrepancies with our IT team.
Right.
There was some, without getting into the weeds, some logic misfiring. So since that time, we have corrected the issue.
You said, repeat what you just said. Logic.
So IT logic, everything is matched up to the household. Since that time, we have made the system enhancements.
Okay.
And the notices are going out correctly now.
And what specific steps has NYCHA taken to improve its Section 8 technology systems to prevent this type of failure, like the one that occurred in 2021 and 2022?
We are closely monitoring as the notices are going out. We do sample the notices.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the default option for the Section 8 recertification, which is online, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Why is this? Why is that a default option?
That is the best way to complete it and get an up-to-date status and confirmation that your information has been received. When you're doing things via the mail, now you have to wait for the post office to pick up and deliver, and then it has to go through a scanning process. So we have made the portal easy to access 24 hours a day, and for your uploads, you can take a picture with your camera phone and upload it. So we've made it as easy as possible.
And is the option via submission for physical form still available?
Yes.
Okay. And is there an option to recertify in person with assistance from NYCHA staff?
So if a person wants to do their recertification in person, they can make an appointment at one of the in-person centers.
Okay.
And there are kiosk machines set up for them to do that. Yes.
And how does NYCHA assist residents who might have difficulty navigating or accessing the online recertification process?
Again, they can make an appointment to go to one of the centers.
To make an appointment.
And our staff do a lot of outreach to households. So for like seniors, if they're not able to complete the process on their own, we can actually do it over the phone.
And under what circumstances might a Section 8 voucher holder have their voucher terminated or not renewed?
There's a wide range of issues. It could be not responding timely to their annual recertification, not allowing access to their unit for inspection. It could be not utilizing their residence as the sole place of residence where we pay subsidy, having unauthorized occupants, it's a long list.
What type of notification? Is it detailed, specifically the reasons why the voucher is being terminated or not renewed?
Yes, so we adhere to the Williams consent decree
Okay.
that requires 3 notices to go out to the household, and it tells them exactly why they're being terminated.
And can they appeal that decision? Is there a recourse? Do
Yes.
residents? And under what circumstance might a PAC or residence rent increase?
It more than likely is associated with the annual recertification process. Those are project-based vouchers,
Right.
so those households generally tend to pay 30% of their income towards rent.
Well, we've been hearing of a spike of complaints from residents in a lot of the RAD PAC converted developments where there's been a increase to rent and where there has been no income change. I know you're probably going to say,
Please share,
to share the cases, but we're seeing that, throughout. I know specifically in the 4 developments that have been converted in my district, residents are constantly saying either that or they don't qualify for the voucher or the Section 8 voucher. So that's something obviously that to me that is of concern, and can be a form of displacement for these residents who are not who are first of all not qualifying for the Section 8 voucher, and then where there's circumstances where their rent is being increased. This NYCHA is supposed to be the OG affordable housing, but it seems like residents are constantly grappling with this increase, especially when the development has been converted or.
Yeah, Councilman, we are the OG of affordable housing. I just want to make that clear. But
we need to keep that statement.
Yes, but
it seems like it's.
But no. So if you are a resident in a development that is converting, you will automatically grandfathered in. You get the voucher. But what we are finding in a lot of PAC developments is there is a lot of management that needs to happen in that household. So, so we do recertifications for people. Sometimes people have been a few years behind in their recertification, and yes, they might say, like, my income hasn't changed, but the last record maybe we had of your household income was 2 or 3 and sometimes 4 years ago. So maybe it feels like my income didn't change, but it's different than it was 4 years ago. Also too, we are able to add people to the household impact. So we tell people, come forward, we can add you to the lease. And remember, it's household income, so not individual. So
wait, you said add them to the lease.
That's correct.
Right, to add them to the composition.
That's right.
So is that also available for head of households?
Yes. So say I'm the head of household, right? And I can, and my relative has been living in the apartment for a while, but I never added them to the household composition. Right. Through PACT and through public housing, but PACT we really encourage it because we want to make sure that their housing is protected. You can come forward and say, and no questions would be asked on how long they were living there before, and we can add them to the lease.
Okay, Brian, but that's not happening on the ground. And what you're saying to me, it sounded like you're speaking a whole different language because that's not happening, and they are aggressively taking these folks to court and trying to evict them. So maybe you and I constantly say this: NYCHA needs to be a little more proactive in doing the oversight over these RAD PAC developments that have been converted, and we're not seeing that because we're constantly seeing residents who are saying we're not on a lease, we're not part of the composition. We came back home for COVID, and now NYCHA is dragging me to court to when they have declared and disclosed that they're living in the apartment, and they want to become head of household. So I need to, we need to see that translated on the ground where these situations are taking place, and we're not seeing that.
Or-
So,
number one, it's and don't get frustrated, but it really
I'm
is
not
like
frustrated.
no, I said
I'm
like
just,
I just
you know,
need to see the individual cases, and it makes it a lot easier. But
well,
I'm also
Brian, I
gonna,
think that
but Boulevard and Linden, the two developments that
you're
I hear
well
the
aware
most.
of a lot of the cases.
Yes,
So
I hear,
but
I
that's
hear
why I
them.
said
I hear them a lot.
what you're saying is to me sounds like you're speaking a different language.
I'm not at all. I'm not at all.
Okay.
I know for sure that there are issues at Boulevard and Linden, and Lisa Bova Hyatt, myself, and many other senior executives, at NYCHA are meeting with a group there every other month, with Reverend Brawley's team, to hash out many of the issues that including the recertification issues that we're hearing there. So we know that there are issues in those two, especially those two developments, and that's why we've been meeting with them
Well,
regularly.
just not those two. You also
just
you
those
have
two,
that
but I'm
issue.
just saying in your district.
Florentino,
Correct.
also Penn Workman. There's been issues.
I haven't been hearing as much from Ferrantino, but the other two, but that's again, it's all anecdotal.
Right. So I mean, in those particular developments, we can get you those cases.
Sure, please do.
Where we have those situations. I was just speaking to a resident at a family day in Penn Workman, and he's grappling with that. He came home during COVID to take care of his mother. She passed away, and now they're trying to evict him out the apartment.
Okay.
And the rent has been being paid. But again, that's, as I said, if NYCHA was really boots on the ground, they would know what's going on. And I'm glad that you are having meetings with Reverend Brawley and those group of tenant organizers. So we do appreciate that. So also too, I want to dive into what is the recourse? What is the recourse that PAC residents have when it comes to their rent being increased, or where there's an error that takes place? How is NYCHA stepping in, and what is the recourse?
Sure.
So if the family feels like an error has been made, whenever we complete a recertification, they're able to appeal. So they can do.
So if the rent was increased by error, they're able to appeal.
Yes.
Okay.
And we will review that case, and we will, there's actually a one-on-one discussion to go through how we arrived at the calculation. And if there's a calculation error, we will fix it.
So also too, just the communication with the Rad Pack management company, are y'all being proactive at all when it comes to overseeing these particular issues, rent increases, and are they being brought to your attention by these management companies?
So on issues like rent increases and things like that, and any recertifications, it is not the management companies that determine that. That comes to Lakeisha staff.
So so it is being brought to your attention when these controversies arise.
That's correct.
So do you have an accurate number or count of how many of these cases have come about?
We can get that to you. I don't think we didn't bring it with us today.
And
but we can get that
particularly
to you.
in Linden houses and Boulevard houses,
Okay.
since
Yep.
it seemed like it's constantly happening there. Now, when it comes to customer contact, the customer contact center and communications with Section 8 residents, what is the current average wait time at the CCC, and what is NYCHA's target wait time?
At the customer contact center, the current average wait time is 17 minutes and 31 seconds.
And how many staff members currently work at the CCC, and how many additional staff are needed to meet the demand?
So NYCHA's customer contact center has 64 staff.
Okay.
There of that 64, 6 of them serve in a supervisory manager role, but the remaining 58 serve as agents. At this time, based on staffing, that is a suitable level. But of course, I will always say we would welcome more. But
yes.
yes.
Did NYCHA's fiscal year 25 budget include money for more CCC staff? Was there a request for any increase?
I would have to I don't want to misspeak, so I would have to follow up on that afterwards.
Okay.
And it just our fiscal year goes to the calendar year, so
Right.
we are still working through the details of next year's budget.
Okay, and when it comes to the walk-in centers, why are the so-called walk-in centers they still operate only by appointment only, and will that change?
Well, if you noticed, we didn't call them walk-in centers, so we did call them our offices. But yeah, this was something that we did change during COVID. And we did notice, though, too, that it does run a lot more efficiently if you do make an appointment. There are less, and folks go there. They know they're going to speak to somebody. They know they can definitely plan their day a lot better. But just showing up, oftentimes we'd have people waiting for hours and hours, and sometimes not even getting heard at all. So we just, for efficiency's sake, we really.
So do you plan on ever going back to?
There is no plans right now
Okay.
to go back to just walking in.
At our hearing on back in February 1st, back in February, I asked whether NYCHA would consider renaming the walk-in centers to obviously avoid confusion. And since they since they do not actually take walk-ins, and I think it was echoed by the audience, you said that you would consider it at that time. Has NYCHA given thought to this issue since then? Um, and yeah, what is that still a possibility to do walk-ins, even though you said that there's no plans to, but would you consider doing it or taking it into consideration?
Yes, definitely. We can definitely consider changing the name. So we'll get back to you on that shortly.
And when it comes to the communication, what languages are available for the Section 8 participants seeking assistance via the CCC or the walk-in centers?
The general languages available are Spanish, Russian,
Okay.
Cantonese, and there's a fourth language that I can't, Mandarin. Thank you.
But we also have a language line too that we could set up three-way calls for other languages as well. So, and just wanted to clarify too, the 17-minute average wait is specifically for Section 8, Section 8. So there is a prompt. If you call and you have a Section 8 question, you press that prompt and that's exactly just for Section 8.
Okay, how many Section 8 specific inquiries does the CCC receive monthly?
The daily average of CCC inquiries is 3,616.
And are the walk-in centers staff trained to help residents with Section 8 specific issues? Okay. And as of now, there are only 2 walk-in centers for NYCHA's entire population, over half a million residents. Are there plans to open up additional walk-in centers?
Not at this time. We really do. We have a tenant portal, and we really are encouraging people to go there. But if they don't, they can call the CCC. And really, the offices are like a last resort.
Okay. Now I'll, Councilmember Mealy, and we're going to that second round. Councilmember
Thank
Mealy?
you. It's very quick. Just off topic. How many NYCHA playgrounds are being repurposed for parking lots?
I don't know of any, but if you do, please, let me know. But I don't.
Van Dyke too. It
Right.
was a parking lot, and y'all built a.
Oh, we built a
NYCHA?
building there. Yes. 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 So, well,
Will any playgrounds be done?
Currently, no.
You sure?
But yes, currently, and We did build that building at Van Dyke 2. Well,
3, I think.
3, yes. I was
Yeah,
just going to,
3.
in fact, it came to me. So that was, 100% affordable
But it still was a parking lot.
with still was a, yes, yes. And we work very closely with
I
Ms.
think
Kenner.
you're trying to do Tilden also.
So, no,
Heard
at
little-
Armstrong, there is a proposal but that's been many years now as a proposal. We have not moved forward, but as we're moving forward, we would come back to you and of course talk to you.
No
about it.
playgrounds.
No playgrounds right now.
Okay, so I have, just to get back on this budget, Section 8, with Rad and Pat, majority of the tenants was in Section 9 that was federally funded, true or not?
That's correct.
So now, with the Rad and Pack, with the Rad and Pack now, we turning everyone over to Section 8. So could you just kind of let me know if they were still Section 9, would their payments would still go, the government, I'll turn this up, the government would have paid their voucher, right?
Yeah,
If they was in Section 9.
that is correct. Yeah, but the subsidy is less, right? So the for very long time now, the federal government has been much more generous towards Section 8 than it is towards Section 9, right? So earlier I talked about the House and the Senate proposals on Section 8, whereas in the House is pretty flat and the Senate sees increases. If you look on the Section 9 side, the House has a 9% cut on Section 9 and an 11% cut on the Senate side for Section 9. So this is not inconsistent what we've seen, over the years. There is not the will in Washington right now, and not in a very, very long time, to fund Section 9 in a way that it should be funded.
Okay, so one more question. If Section 8 get dismantled, because I think 200,000 at one time we stopped, right? With Section 8?
So we have 200,000 people on the wait list. So they don't have they currently don't have a voucher. They're waiting to be called.
So how is that going to help the new people with Rad and Pat?
Right. So it's a different
Are
list.
they going to be coordinating them getting into these apartments?
No, it's a different list. So
Now we have another list.
we do have another list. Yes. Yeah. So it's not the
How long
same.
is the waiting list?
So the range for a packed apartment it ranges, right? It could be months up to years. We're talking about developments that are already occupied. So when they're converting, they're very close to 100% occupancy. So it's about that churn, the turnover of those apartments. So it could vary depending on bedroom size, depending on location. It varies.
So now if anyone is, and one other question I have to ask. You saying if anyone, you are doing succession rights now with Rad and Pack or just Nitro?
Both.
Both.
The succession rights exist on PACT, RAD, and also for Section 9.
So who should I call in regards to that? You?
For packed or
Because
rad.
if people are coming saying, my parent, I was living there, and they don't have their name on the lease, you're saying they could have put their name on the lease and just paid the extra funding.
So during conversion, yeah. So during conversion, right? Not after conversion's harder, right? But during conversion, we really encourage everyone to okay, now's your chance to come forward and put somebody who's been living there on the lease. They will have to go through a background check, all that other stuff, but it is an opportunity to do it, right? And that's the best time to do it. After that, you don't want to wait, right? A lot of people think if I add somebody to my household, maybe my rent will go up or something like that.
Yeah.
But what you are buying is security, right? So, because you don't want to wait till after the fact, right? You don't want to wait till the head of household moves away or passes away or something like that, and then start to worry about it. That's kind of late.
So
That's very late in the game.
anyone who is living in someone's house now, they can ask to be put on.
They can ask. I'm not guaranteed that happens, but they can come forward and they can say, as long as it's not creating an overcrowded situation, as long as they pass the background check.
And just to add also, that individual cannot come forward. The head of household needs to come and ask to add them.
That's right. So if the head of household says like, yeah, they've been staying here for a while, but I'm trying to get rid of them, you couldn't add. It has to be everybody has to be in agreement.
Last one, if the this budget does not pass with the federal government, what is your recourse on tenants if they cannot pay their rent? You're going to take them to court right away?
So
It's not their problem that
$1
our
million
president is,
Yep.
cutting the budget or holding it up.
Mhm.
So what would you do? What is your recourse?
So, number one, I just want to emphasize yes, it is a good question. It really is. So I want to emphasize how important it is to make sure that tenants continue to pay their portion of the rent, especially on the Section 8 side, and even if the subsidy is not being paid, tenants just make sure that they're not doing anything that, you make sure that they're living up to their
So
responsibility.
they could pay their portion and
they need to
you
pay
won't
their
send them
portion.
to court right
That's
away.
correct. That's correct. Yep, they are
How
protected.
long would y'all wait? 6 months?
Right. So
If we don't know what the future holds.
we don't.
We don't know if this will ever get,
Mhm.
rectified. But if it does not, how long would y'all wait before y'all start doing process? Or you gonna let people stay there as long as they paying their portion? That's my last question.
So if the Section 8 portion is missing,
No, if
landlords
they
are not
paying their
supposed
Section
to.
8 portion,
No,
They
if the
are
tenant
paying
is
it.
if the tenant
but
is
the
paying their
government is
portion,
not putting their money in the Section 8 vouchers.
yes.
So,
So if a tenant is paying their portion of the rent, then there's no cause for eviction.
Okay.
Right now, a landlord is not supposed to take a tenant to court for the Section 8 portion because it is not their responsibility. As long as they are active on the program, it is not the tenant's responsibility.
we're gonna have to somewhere enough to help the tenants also, because it's not their fault also. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Mealy. Councilmember Vilas.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Good to see you. Forgive me if I ask a question that you already, I was in and out, may have responded to. I wanted to quickly follow up just to make sure I understood. In terms of succession rights, did you say that succession rights are exactly the same between Section 9, RAD Pact, and any other version, trust?
No, I just said that they exist, but they're not exactly the same.
Could you walk me through what would be the distinctions between Section 9 and a RAD Pact?
So that's the one where they're most similar, right? So in a Section 9 apartment, same thing with a pact development. If you are on the lease, and you have to be on the lease, that's the first minimum for 1 year prior to the head of household leaving or passing away, you can apply for succession rights, right? So that's so that's on both sides of the program. For the tenant-based program, same thing.
Yep.
Same thing. So, yep.
So that's the same regulation for Section 9
Correct.
and a
Yep.
RAD Pact?
Yeah, I just wasn't as familiar with the tenant-based program.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. In terms of recertification, I know you walked through this. If you know, I've heard many a story, particularly in the Red Pact arena, that the recertification processes were very difficult and tenants hadn't received as much assistance and guidance in getting those. And also that, in fact, NYCHA's systems and some of the systems used in the Rad Pack developments didn't necessarily talk to each other, which created some other additional complications. Have we sorted out, is this something that you have also heard and experienced, and has it sorted, is it getting addressed?
So the systems between the PAC development on site and NYCHA will be different because they serve two different purposes. So my program, the Section 8 program, we do the annual recertification calculations, and we utilize our customer relation management software. On site is for property management. Those systems cannot talk to one another. Yeah.
I guess in that regard, where I've heard specific, where there were problems and divergence is like on rent, where tenants had, let's say, been told that they had owed rent when in fact they knew they didn't owe rent. And it was really because it was a technical glitch because the systems were somehow disconnected. That's probably one of the more persistent things I heard. I don't know if that resonates with maybe some of the things you have heard, and if that is connected. And maybe development by development, and maybe different managers. I don't have the most up-to-date information, but it was something that was pointed out. In terms of the recertification, just to go back to that, I know there are 3 centers that are available, but I think what I was hearing from tenants as well was that the recertification process under PAC seemed much more rigorous and without as much assistance as tenants were used to under Section 9, which had different. Is NYCHA sitting in the Red Pack developments doing the recertifications, or is the new management doing that?
So the annual recertification is performed by NYCHA, by my team.
Okay.
The requirements are the same from public housing to Section 8 with the documentation and the questions that we ask for. If anyone is having trouble with completing that process, we do have the centers where they can make an appointment. And we have the PAC partners who are often willing to assist the voucher holders in that process. So I would like to have a little bit more detail about the particular developments.
I can certainly follow up. So what I was understanding, it sounded like in some of these PAC developments, that it was the PAC partners that were doing that, and there was a disconnect with the way they were used to engaging with NYCHA in a very particular way, and now these PAC partners operated very differently and didn't have, in some instances, the language ability or just didn't have the same kind of engagement that tenants were used to. It's different. It's a different system. So
Yes.
Under that vein, and thank you, Chair, that I'll wrap up here. Does NYCHA conduct quality control around how Rack Pack developments engage with tenants around either recertification or just generally?
Yes, there is a program. The compliance department does a quality control on the PAC process.
And could you expand a little bit on that? Like, where do we find the data around the quality control and the frequency with which they look into these aspects of work?
I don't think it exists publicly, but it, I'm sure I'm giving you ideas. But it doesn't exist publicly. But it is something that anyone who's living in a PAC development, they could go to a compliance department and say, can you look into this? And it is available. They have their own website, and it also has somewhere where individual tenants can file complaints or ask them to look into something.
All right, well, I'll follow up. I realize this is not a Rad Pact meeting in particular, but these things are all connected, and recertification issues, the Section 9 issues, the fact that the city is only really interested in Rad Pacting all of our public housing, to me, is problematic. So I think we'll just continue to have that conversation. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Just a couple of questions just to get clarification again on the project-based Section 8. Now, residents who don't qualify in those RAD Pack converted developments, how does NYCHA handle those situations?
Go ahead.
So generally, people residing at the public housing site, they are able to get under the contract. We may not be paying subsidy for
I'm not
100%.
understanding your response. You said, repeat that?
Generally, anyone who is an active resident
Mm-hmm.
at a converting development, they are converted to the Section 8 program, whether or not we are paying subsidy for them. They're still able to be under the contract.
So their rent will be increased, right?
Yes, so if there's a household who is not eligible for subsidy, meaning that we will not pay subsidy because their income is too high, they are then phased in.
So
to
they're still paying they're still paying 30% of the income.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. And obviously those particular residents, their apartments are rehabbed, right?
Yes.
Correct. Okay. When it comes to, let me see. When we were talking about residents who are not part of the composition, on a situation where a person who comes back home and is living with their family and the head of household passes away, how was that communicated to them? Because I know there, in the beginning of the conversion, there's these community engagement meetings that take place. Is that communicated during those engagement meetings that residents who are not part of the composition in a situation like that, if they disclose it, that they can now become part of head of household or become the head of household?
We do. During engagement, we make sure that people know. We also partner with legal aid to make sure, too, because sometimes people don't want to come to us and they tell us, so they want to come to the new management, so they could go to legal aid.
Have there been examples of situations where residents have come and disclosed?
Yes, definitely.
You said that in the engagement meetings that you have with the community. Do you have minutes that anything that documents those meetings showing that?
We have PowerPoints that we've used.
Well, I'm not talking about the PowerPoint. I'm talking about documentation of what you're saying that you said in those meetings.
I can go back and ask our folks in real estate.
If you can get us the minutes,
we do have the presentation. We can get you the presentations that we use.
Specifically, the reason why I say that, and I'll just give you, if you can bring those minutes or documentation of what NYCHA said to the residents in those meetings, I'll give you 4 developments. If you can do it for Linden houses, Boulevard houses, Penn Workman houses, and Florentino houses.
Okay, Boulevard, Florentino. Okay.
Because we're constantly we're seeing one thing, or we're hearing one thing said in the beginning of these conversions, but it's not happening on the grounds. And you're also seeing that in Stuyvesant Gardens, where quote unquote they had these community engagement meetings and the residents are now up in arms against the conversion.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I was very involved with the Linden Boulevard and Penn Worthman because, remember, the engagement started there pre-COVID and went into COVID. So we were doing a lot of in-person meetings and then a lot of Zoom meetings as well. And I do remember that being discussed. I also remember, like in many other meetings, we told.
Well, no, I don't remember anything. I'm asking you to.
Yes, I'll get you the documentation, right? So I can. You don't have to go by my memory, please don't. But also too, and I will also look for the documentation on this. It being stated that as long as you're not over income, that you automatically qualify for a Section 8 voucher. But if you're over income, that's a larger issue and not a rule that
So
we
over
make.
income meaning you don't qualify for the
That's
Section
correct.
8.
That's correct.
Right. So obviously, once they fill out the application,
But that
and
is,
they're
most people are, the far majority, automatically transition into the program.
So once they're okay, so when they're transitioning into the program, they don't qualify for the Section 8 voucher. Um, their rent is increased.
Yes.
Okay. And have you had any situations where residents have come to NYCHA, or there's been any ask for NYCHA to get involved or to mediate those situations?
Yes.
And are those
so
documented as to how many of those cases exist?
I can get the number on how many of them
I would
exist.
appreciate it.
But generally, the process is if we are not paying subsidy, the rent is increased over a 5-year period until it hits 30% of the household income.
Okay. And if they can't afford to pay that increase, you then displace them. You put them on the streets, right? Or you take them to court. You move to evict them.
I can't speak to that. I only
Brian?
do subsidy administration.
No, I said if they can't afford to pay the increase, what happens? Because under Section 9, they were able to pay their rent and they didn't have this issue. But now this new dream that comes in, this fairy tale comes in of Rad Pack, they don't qualify for the Section 8 voucher, and now their housing is in jeopardy.
Well, over income is also an issue on the Section 8 side now as well, right? So HOTMO was passed in 2016, and we are seeing, tenants who are over the threshold now for public housing too. And in those situations, we are not only increasing their rent, but they're also they're not public housing residents either. And so they are faced with a situation, right? Do I stay and pay more? And if they're not able to, continue to pay the rent,
So they,
and they get a different lease as well.
You said they're not public housing
That's right.
residents anymore?
Yes.
So now there's, what would they be, what would be their status?
So they are, they pay fair market rent, but they're not they are not technically public housing residents. Like they couldn't serve on the resident council.
Right.
They couldn't run for office. And this is all federal statute.
Okay. All right. That concludes my questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And hopefully you can get back to us with those minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I was, my colleagues did tell me that there are minutes for those meetings, so I definitely can get them for you.
Okay. We look forward to seeing those.
Thank you so much.
And hopefully they match
Yes.
what the residents said they heard and didn't hear. Thank
Sure.
you.
Okay, thank you.
See you tomorrow. Who's coming tomorrow? It's Brian. You're gonna be in Eva Trimble. All right. Look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Your attendance was taken, so you can't skip out. Okay, now I'm going to open the hearing for public testimony. I remind members of the public that this is a government proceeding and all decorum shall be observed at all times. As such, members of the public shall remain silent at all times. The witness table is reserved for people who wish to testify. No video recording or photography is allowed for the witness table. Members of the public may not present audio or video recordings as testimony, but may submit transcripts of such recordings to the Sergeant of Arms for the inclusion into the hearing record. If you wish to speak at today's hearing, please fill out the appearance card with the Sergeant of Arms and wait to be recognized. When recognized, you will have 2 minutes to speak on today's hearing topic. Section 8, and emergency housing vouchers. If you wish to submit a written statement or additional written testimony for the record, please give a copy to the Sergeant of Arms. You may also email written testimony to testimony@council.nyc.gov within 72 hours of this hearing. Audio and video recordings will not be accepted. I will now call the first panel, and we have Alex McDougall, Neil Rana. Last name is Hamaz. Rukaya. Sorry, I hope I didn't chop it up too bad. And the last name is Hamza. Sorry about that. And Tabitha Ward. Thank you. We'll begin with Tabitha. Ms. Ward.
Hello, my name is Tabitha Ward, and I am asking the
Ms.
city
Ward,
coun-
can you speak into the mic so we can hear you? Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Tabitha Ward, and I'm asking the city council to support a resolution to allow the housing vouchers recipients to directly receive their housing voucher. Instead of it going, and this will include city FEPS, Section 8, Section 9, and any other housing voucher program that we have here in New York City, New York State, and so on and so forth. Currently, right now, our housing vouchers are going directly to the landlords. And by doing this, by allowing us to directly receive our housing vouchers, it'll give us control and allow us to decide where we live, how we live, and have more of a say in where they send us. And it also will eliminate slumlords. Because the housing vouchers are going directly to the landlords, as the gentleman said before, it is money in the bank. They have no reason to make repairs as they should. They have no reason to resolve a lot of the issues that I've heard that was discussed today. There is no incentive there. However, if those housing vouchers are going directly to the rental recipients, either on our benefit cards or directly deposited into our checking accounts, right? The same way we get everything else, we will be able to play a more authoritative role in what happens with us. I am a recipient of the City FEPS housing voucher, and I have been receiving City FEPS since 2015. And recently, on July 31st, the landlord had the city marshal's office to place a lock on my door. I had to run down to HRA to City FEPS and to show that they were paying the housing voucher directly to the landlord. I then had to run to the housing court to show it to the judge. 4 days later, the judge ordered them to remove the lock from the door. The thing is, the reason why they were able to do it is because it went directly to the landlord. However,
30 seconds to.
However, if I had have received it directly, I could have been able to show that they were receiving that, directly, and I would have been able to pay the rent myself.
Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Rukaya.
Hi. Good afternoon, members of the City Council. My name is Rukaya Hamza, and I am a law graduate with Staten Island Legal Services, which is a part of Legal Services NYC. So, as mentioned earlier, the EHV program, which is the Federal Emergency Housing Voucher Program that was enacted in 2021 as part of former President Biden's rescue plan, was implemented to mitigate homelessness and also assist individuals and families in securing safe and affordable housing. However, that program was expected to last until 2030, but currently the current administration has announced that the HV program would be terminated, which means it's being cut a few years before its expected date. And this is expected to have disastrous consequences on NYC residents. Currently, New York City is facing a homelessness crisis. In January 2024, more than 140,000 people lacked stable housing. And in July 2025, 104,052 people slept in NYC shelters each night. Although that number has reduced compared to that of 2024, there's still an overwhelming need for housing assistance for New York City's tenants who can't afford to live in the city that they work in and reside in with their families. And although NYCHA has announced that it will remove its voucher holders to its regular Section 8 program, as a standalone agency, it cannot solve the homelessness crisis. So the New York State and city can step in and provide a comprehensive solution to this problem so that EHV families can continue to receive the housing subsidy that they need, and thousands of other families already on waitlist are not further delayed in accessing affordable housing. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Neil, right up.
Good afternoon. My name is Neil Run. I'm attorney at Manhattan Legal Services in our housing unit, and I'm here today to testify about two public-private partnerships that are negatively impacting the tenants that we serve. One is the RAD PAC program that has been previously discussed, and the other is HUD's administration of their statewide contracts for Section 8 housing. Starting with RAD, the RAD PAC program was designed ostensibly with one of their goals being to leverage the private sector money to address things like repairs in apartments. If that was a goal of the program, it is not happening. RAD PAC buildings across Manhattan are replete with repair issues, and the failure to address those repairs have direct negative implications for our clients that we serve. For example, one group of clients is a family that has lived in a RAD PAC program building for years and has failed to get their repairs addressed in a timely manner, which led the apartment to fail HQS inspections. And in line with NYCHA policy, their subsidy was terminated, and they were giving them a voucher to move out rather than either NYCHA or the private manager of the building stepping in to make the repairs. Another example of a failed public-private partnership is HUD's administration of their HAP contracts for Section 8 housing across the city. Through hundreds of audits that Lisney has reviewed, it's come out that CGI, the private statewide contract administrator in New York, has failed to take any corrective action for failing properties across the city. This has led to consequences such as termination of subsidies happening arbitrarily and oftentimes without notice, repair issues going unaddressed, and dangerous health conditions like lead violations persisting in apartments. What these public-private partnerships ultimately have done is allow each actor in the system, whether it's the government actor, NYCHA and HUD, or the private administrator, to shield each other from accountability. There's no accountability across the board, and if this council wants to take this issue seriously, they should consider how they can help the constituents living in these buildings actually get the services that they're owed. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Alex McDougall.
Hi. To Chair and members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to testify today. I'm just going to highlight a few issues from our written testimony. A lot of it was I'd like to just echo from my colleague who talked about the EHV program and the absolute importance of making sure folks with EHVs continue and so that they don't lose those subsidies despite funding for the program ending. And so we strongly support NYCHA's plan to prioritize EHV households for housing choice vouchers. And we urge, I know we're not talking about HPD at this hearing, but we urge HPD to do the same. And if necessary, use city FEPs or other tools to ensure no household falls through the cracks. We'd also like to address NYCHA's rapidly expanding Section 8 program as thousands of families are moving from traditional public housing into project-based Section 8 developments through NYCHA's PACT initiative. Brian mentioned that NYCHA's already converted over 25,000 units with a goal to convert 62,000 units by 2028. And so this significant influx of new participants into the program really necessitates conversations about NYCHA's capacity to meet the increased need for program administration. Legal Aid maintains several housing and benefits helplines, and we are constantly hearing from NYCHA Section 8 tenants facing problems with their vouchers that they've not been able to fix. Callers report trying to contact the CCC and waiting on the phone for hours, sometimes taking days to reach someone. Calls are dropped, disconnected, and our staff calls all the time and they report the same thing. The volume is often so high that the system doesn't even pick up calls, and it just suggests that callers call back later. We've addressed the walk-in centers, not really walk-in centers, so that's not a really a solution. So folks are reliant really then on the self-service portal to resolve issues often alone. And the self-service portal is a necessary tool, and we appreciate NYCHA's commitment to its development, but the portal really needs improvement. Callers report issues uploading documents, glitches, and not even being able to really view or use the portal on their smartphones. And we know that for lots of folks, a smartphone is their only internet-connected device.
3 seconds.
Yeah, okay. So just quickly beyond the technical and customer service issues that folks are facing, our callers, clients, my colleagues are also reporting issues that folks are experiencing that jeopardize their ability to maintain their subsidy. Inconsistent notices that omit the information they're seeking, termination notices that don't include the reason for the termination. So these are huge problems and are more relevant than ever with the expanding program. So we just want to ensure NYCHA gets the support it needs to administer the expanding Section 8 program, but also raise awareness about the issues people are experiencing trying to meet program obligations so that they can stay in their homes. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimonies. Also, too, want to recognize my colleague, Councilmember Salamanca. Now we'll move to the next panel. We have Anna Loof and Christopher Leon Johnson. Wait for her to be seated.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'll go for it because I know she won't take a glorious time. Yeah, it could take much time as possible. I'm going for it. I got to go across the street. All right, so hello. My name is Christopher Leon Johnson. Thank you, Salamanca, for coming. Thanks for coming out. I'm surprised that you're here for this hearing. So I'm here to call on the city council to cut all ties with Vocal New York with handing out these vouchers, because the problem with the city is that what they like to do is hand out vouchers to these nonprofits, and then the nonprofits hand out the vouchers. I believe that the vouchers for Section 8 and the emergency vouchers should be handed out directly from HUD and directly from DHS and NYCHA. The issue is that the nonprofits does nothing to support the people that they supposed to support. When you go and try to get a voucher, they always give you the runaround. I believe that these nonprofits act on bad faith. They act on political will. They only do help out people that they believe that's going to benefit them politically. Why does Vocal New York champion a level 2 sex offender named Douglas Powell, and the city council says nothing about it? That type of association should be a disqualifier from the city council from even working with them, including the city of New York, for working with them and allowing them to hand out vouchers to the people in New York City. We have to save NYCHA. I mean, we have to save NYCHA, make it public, keep it public, don't privatize NYCHA. When it, like I said, that's my feeling. So thank you so much.
Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you. I'm going.
Now we'll move to Anna Loof.
Thank you, and greetings, Chair Banks and members of the New York City Council Committee on Public Housing. Thank you so much for this opportunity to testify today. I am Anna Luft, and I am the project director of the Public Housing Justice Project within the Tenants' Rights Unit at NILAG. And I just want to start off by saying, coming in at the end, that there has been a lot of really excellent testimony. And I echo the concerns raised in particular by Alex McDougall at Legal Aid Society. I don't want to be redundant, but we have seen through our hotline the same issues being raised, and from our community clinics, the same issues being raised in terms of notice, inability to access the CCC, and inability to navigate the recertification processes, in particular with RAD Pact. Across the board, Section 8 recipients in New York City need more transparency and better access to information from the agency that administers their subsidy. HPD is responsible for 1/3 of the EHVs in New York City, but has not publicly shared a plan for what they plan to do with those households when the program winds down. This lack of transparency puts these vulnerable households at even greater risk. We hope that they'll do what NYCHA is going to do, but if they're not planning on doing that in either way, they need to publicly share that so that their voucher holders and those voucher holders' advocates can properly plan for the future. For NYCHA Section 8 households, the administration is already strained and will be further strained with cuts to the funding from the federal government. Inaccessible walk-in centers and long, unpredictable wait times on the CCC hotline mean that participants often can't access the information that they need. For RAD Pact residents, delays mean that there is sometimes a gap in the conversion. So their lease will become active, but they will have months where they're not enrolled in Section 8 and arrears accrue that way. One suggestion that I have is put the forms online. Just put the forms online. Put the recertification packet online, not through the portal, but just on the website. Put the PACT pilot application on the internet so that if we have a client who can't access the portal, they don't have to call the CCC, wait an hour, have their call dropped, or get it generated and mailed to them. We can just help them go to the website, print it out, and fill it out for them so that it can be submitted. HPD does this. It is possible. This would reduce the strain on NYCHA. It would increase access to information for voucher holders, and it would make everything more efficient with like a very minimal lift from anyone. So I know I'm out of time, but just put it online. I feel like I'm crazy for saying this over and over again. Just put it online.
Put it online. All right. Thank you so much to the panel for your testimony at today's hearing. We will now turn into our remote testimony. Once your name is called, a member of our staff will unmute you, and the Sergeant of Arms will give you a go-ahead to begin. Please wait for the Sergeant of Arms that you may begin before delivering your testimony. We will now call Amy Blumsack. You may begin.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Amy Blumsack. I work at Neighbors Together. We're located in Ocean Hill, Brooklyn. We serve hot meals. We do direct services, helping people with vouchers find housing. We also do organizing and policy work with our members. I am here today. First of all, thank you for holding this hearing on this really important issue. I'm here today because over 60% of our over 10,000 members are homeless, and a number of them have Section 8 and or EHV. And I wanted to testify on behalf of our members to say that we very much support NYCHA's plan to port people over from EHV to Section 8. I know it's not the purview of this committee, but it is worth saying on record that HPD needs to make a similar plan, and whatever their plan is, you need to make it public immediately and clearly. And going back to NYCHA importing people over from EHV to Section 8, I think it's really important to say that the communication needs to happen clearly and early and often. All of our members who have EHV are incredibly stressed. They just got out of homelessness just a few years ago, and it takes a long time to stabilize. And so to suddenly be on the verge of homelessness again and have no idea what's going to happen is incredibly scary. So I can't stress how important clear and frequent communication is about the plan, and that the transition needs to be very, very smooth. I think also if there's difficulty getting a hold of those folks who have EHV who are being ported over to Section 8, there needs to be really proactive follow-up, like go into the community and find people. The last thing that I wanted to say is that I heard a lot of the council members mentioning source of income discrimination. This is an issue we work on a lot at Neighbors Together. I wanted to say that NYCHA can be doing so much more to help its Section 8 tenants address this really important issue. There are,
expired. Thank you.
I'll just say quickly,
Yeah,
there are
you
important.
give it another minute to
Thank you
close
so
out.
much.
Not a problem.
I'll just say quickly that there's really simple and easy know your rights education that NYCHA could be handing out to its Section 8 tenants. There are also really great tools out there to do proactive reporting of source of income discrimination when you encounter it as a voucher holder. Unlock NYC has worked for years to develop a really great tool online that helps people step by step to report discrimination with evidence that gets sent straight to CCHR. And last but not least, Neighbors Together and a number of other organizations have a bill package with 6 bills addressing source of income discrimination. That's intros 1210 through 1215. And all of them are bills that would help disincentivize source of income discrimination, because vouchers are a critical tool to end homelessness. But in order to make vouchers work, we also need to address source of income discrimination. So I believe that NYCHA can be doing a lot more in this arena. I thank you for your time and for holding this hearing.
Thank you for your testimony. If we have inadvertently missed anyone that has registered to testify today and has yet to have been called, please use the Zoom to raise your hand function. If you are testifying remotely, you will be called in the order that your hand has been raised. If you are testifying in person, please come to the dais. All right, seeing none, I will now close this hearing. Thank you to the members of the administration and to the members of the public who have joined us today to discuss this very important topic. This hearing is now adjourned.